Hello folks, Everchanger here, and welcome back to more of the Legend of Zelda the Minish Cap. Last time, after obtaining the flippers, we went around and got a whole bunch of stuff that was available to us now that we had that item. And we also made it here to the middle of Lake Hylia. This time, we are going to be entering the next dungeon, the Temple of Droplets. Where exactly is it, you may ask? Well... Yep, the dungeon itself is a Minish portal. Now, starting off here, it's freezing in here. If you don't find that element quickly, I'm going to turn into a hatsicle. Hurry up, Link. This is probably the biggest dungeon by far that we've encountered thus far. Here you can see we have the boss door right here. Now, what? This floor is made out of ice! Be careful not to fall and freeze your backside to the floor, Link. Just a warning, this episode is not going to be the entire dungeon. We're going to be doing 2 videos for this dungeon because basically it's big, and if we did the whole dungeon in one video, we'd probably be here for about 40 to 50 minutes. So we're going to be splitting it in 2. First thing, we want to head up to the north sector here. And you can see we've got these lights coming down from above. Pretty neat. We got a little bit of a trap door right here, which is going to be very important very shortly. Come down to the bottom here, and we have this switch. Flip the switch, and that will open up the trap door and let light flow down into the lower level. Hey, the sunlight's shining through. Ah, it's so nice and warm. I can feel myself starting to defrost again. Yep, this is an ice dungeon. Big mechanic of this dungeon is going to be manipulating the light onto these ice blocks right here. It looks like something is frozen inside this block of ice. Link, why don't you go take a look? What you want to do is you want to shove and shove. And as soon as the ice enters into the light, it will defrost, allowing you to grab a small key. Use it to open locked doors and blocks. Still haven't seen a block. I have a feeling we'll be seeing one soon, though. The nice thing about these trapdoors, you can actually flip them back and forth, so you can shut this if you want. Don't actually need to, but you totally can. And manipulating things like that is going to become very important as we progress through here. Alrighty, so now that we have that key, we can head into this room. Watch out for the torches because they will fire at you. And we can come into yet another room right here. I think what we want to do is just jump down to the bottom here. And as you can see, we've got the big key already trapped inside this block of ice. What we're going to have to do is we're going to have to manipulate it into this area right here. So let's see if we can do that. Now, going to be totally upfront with you. This is not the easiest dungeon in the world when it comes to ice puzzles, because they're pretty tough, gonna admit here. I might screw this up, and odds are I probably will, because I actually haven't done a practice run of this dungeon, but hopefully we'll get it through here no problem. Okay, I think we want to send this up, and this down, and this over. I love the sound effects in here, that sound of ice sliding on ice. So satisfying. Alright, I think we want to push this down, and then over. Yeah, I think we got it. And then up, and then over. And already, we got the big key. Use it to open big doors. Does that mean we're done here? Ho ho ho, no. No, it does not. What we want to do next is flip that door shut, and we can now progress up this way, allowing us to head back across here and out of the room, which is pretty awesome. Now, I guess there's nothing else to do now that it seems we're practically done with this dungeon to go over to the big door and unlock it. So let's go ahead and do that. Run right through this room again, avoid the pots and the fireballs, and not shoot off arcane. That's not what we want to do. And we can now head right on over here and unlock the door. Inside, is... Hey! Well done, Link. This looks to be the element, alright. But what will we do? We can't even touch it while it's trapped in that ice. We'll need to melt it off somehow. Yes, we have the element right here. Unfortunately, we're going to be hard-pressed to get to it because it is in a huge block of ice. And we also have this right down here. Rather foreboding now, isn't it? Up here, we've got lots of pots. A lot of these will come flying at you, so I'm just going to warn you right off the bat to be very careful in this room because they will come at you. Now, there's two ways to go here, but unfortunately, this way is actually blocked off to us. So what we're going to want to do is, since we have no other option, is to head over to this side of the room. Now this brings us to the main, I guess, gimmick of this dungeon. This dungeon is basically two halves. Right down here, open this up and we get the dungeon map. Lighter rooms are ones you visited. Very good. Now, I'm just going to put this in perspective for you. Let's come over to this map. Look at how big this friggin' dungeon is. It's huge. Like, seriously, this is one of the most crazy dungeons I've ever seen. So you can probably guess that we're not going to be doing the whole thing in one video. We're already 6 minutes into this thing and we're not even close to being done. Alrighty, so we want to swim right on over this way. The flippers are going to be absolutely vital in navigating this place, so it's a good thing we got a hold of those, because we wouldn't be able to get very far in this dungeon without them. This dungeon really is sort of a water/ice hybrid dungeon, but the ice mechanics are a bit more pronounced than the water ones, because the water ones pretty much amount to swimming around, so if you're going to worry about it being like a water temple type situation, you really don't have to worry about that. Alright, I think what we want to do is we want to come over to this area, pull out your gust jar, sneak ever so close to the edge, yoink, and fly right on over here. Press this down and that will actually take down those things right there, but we don't want to go that way quite yet. Instead, what we want to do is we want to head all the way back around, because... Oh no, derp. We don't want to do that quite yet. As you can see, my memory of these later dungeons isn't quite as good as the earlier parts of the game, because honestly, I'm really embarrassed to admit this, I'm one of those players that will quite often play a game for like the half of it, and then just sort of stop, so I've done the later parts of Minish Cap much less than I've done the earlier parts. But anyway, now that I'm done with my little ramble, we want to head down that waterfall right here and check this tablet. The way forward is hidden in the bottom of the pot. That is very interesting and very important for later. What we want to do is head over this way, and what do you know? This looks relatively pot-like, wouldn't you think? Dive down, and eventually you will find a small key. Use it to open locked doors and blocks. You can use it only in this dungeon. Very important. Unfortunately, we can no longer progress further this way. But now that we have this key, we can head back up to the top level. And that will allow us to get access to something that will actually let us progress onwards, which is super awesome. Making use of our grip ring, of course, climbing this little bit of climbable stuff. Alrighty, very nice. I really like the concept of this dungeon, because the dungeon itself is a Minish portal. I like how they sort of throw all these twists on things in this game. It's really nice. It's not just a generic dungeon, it's actually a mechanic you've been exposed to the whole game, but it's just got a new spin on it, which I really like. Speaking of new mechanics, we actually have a bit of an older mechanic right here. We got the lily pad again. You might recognize this from the other Minish dungeon we've done. Alrighty, so let's puff our way all the way around here, and eventually we should be able to send this thing careening down that waterfall, which is exactly what we want to be doing. So let's just come right on down here, puff ourselves over to the side, and down it falls. Wahoo! Alright, now this part is a little bit sketchy. What I like to do is I like to charge this thing up, and let it fly, and then jump off, dive, get back on, and run like heck. Ooh! Ah, dang it. I almost made it. Really hard to actually get through that without taking damage, which is a little unfortunate. But anyway, now that we've done that, we want to head right on over this way. And I really like how they use this lily pad, because it basically allows you to just hop onto these things when you couldn't do it yourself. So it's kind of like the lily pad is, I don't know, like a crutch of ours, but yet it's not, because it's like a vehicle? I don't know where I'm going with this. Alright, I think we want to go up first, if I'm not mistaken. Actually, I don't think we do. I think we want to come this way. Alright, take you down, just so he doesn't get in our way. Alrighty, can we get through this way? Aha, yes we can. We got this guy. It's the Matter Pillar, and he's not even a mini-boss. There isn't even any mini-boss music playing. But of course, we have the ice physics to deal with. But what we also have is a stronger sword, so it should make us a little bit more capable of taking this guy out. Alrighty, come on, there we go. And there he goes already. Very nice. Now that we have done that, this door is open, which is pretty awesome. Head right on through it, and... compass? Yes, this is the compass. We have all 3 dungeon treasures, which is very nice. Now that we have done that, we can head right on down here and onwards. Now I'm going to admit something. I'm definitely going to be going and grabbing all the chests in all these dungeons, as I have been, but I will admit that in my 100% file of this game, I actually missed the dungeon map entirely in the dungeon after this, so I'm hoping we don't have to do too much backtracking to get stuff I forget, but it is entirely possible, so if that does happen, I do apologize. Alrighty, I think we want to be over this way. Yes. And we can flip the switch open, which is nice. Now, I'm pretty sure there is actually a way to get stuck in this room. I think. But I think it's very unlikely. Basically, what it involves is, if you get knocked off of the lily pad at a certain point in the dungeon, you will sort of get trapped a bit. 50 rupees right there. Complete waste of time for us, unfortunately. Got the dust jar. Alright. Hopefully I don't actually get stuck in that way, because I have never actually had it happen to me. So I'm really hoping we don't have to deal with something tragic like that. But anyway, heading up here, I think we got another barrier right here. So what we want to do is we want to hop off of the lily pad and head around here. We've got yet another ice block pushing puzzle. So basically what we need to do is we need to sort of create a bit of a brace that that we can rest our ice blocks on. I think what we want to do is we want to push this down, and then we really don't want to screw this up. I think we want to push this over, I think. I'm actually not sure if I'm doing this right. Well, let's try this. No, this'll work. This'll totally work. Alright. Push that over like that, and push that, and... Oop. Ice physics. That. There we go. Now that we've done that, we can head onwards in the dungeon. I believe there's something over this way, if I'm not mistaken. Is there not? There's gotta be. Ow. Alright. I'm pretty sure there is something over this way, if I'm not mistaken. Right? Yeah, there totally is. There totally is. Alright, we took one of those jerks down. They really like picking up things and dropping them on you. They're kind of like the floor masters from Wind Waker in that regard. Alright, let's pop our way up here. Now don't worry, not the entire dungeon is going to be navigated with this thing. It's pretty much partially this bottom floor right here. Now as you'll notice, this room is very dark. Link, where are you? Are you still there under me? It's so dark I can't see my beak in front of my face. Watch your step. I don't want you to trip over anything. I'll be really careful in this room, because that will happen if you're not careful. Alrighty, now I'm gonna check my map real quick just to make sure I'm not missing anything back there. Okay, it looks like we can revisit that room again later on, so I think we're good. Progressing on here. What do we got? Head up this way. Aha! We got a mini-boss fight right here, so what you want to do is pull out your boomerang and stun. And just slash away, and eventually they'll go down no trouble, which is very good. Because these guys can be pretty hard to bring down. Alrighty, let's just strategize this. Man, what the heck kind of morbid creature would have boomerang pincers? That is just messed up. Now this will unlock our blue portal right here. Head right on through here, and across, and we will wind up in this room, which is super nice. What we can do is use these pads right here, and as usual, split ourselves. Head right on over and flip the switch, and that will open up a very, very large thingy. Yes, a thingy. Totally professional. Of course, sunlight! Once we get some sunlight in to melt the ice, that element will be as good as ours. Super awesome. Now I think what I actually want to do is I want to head back to that lily pad just to make absolutely sure I haven't forgotten anything. Alrighty. Now, we're not exactly halfway done with this dungeon, as you might expect we would be, because there is quite a bit of unexplored territory in here already. So, yeah, it does tend to drag a little bit. This is probably the largest dungeon. I don't know about that, it's probably not the largest dungeon. It feels like the largest, because they just sort of throw this at you after the past 3 dungeons. Because the past 3 dungeons were like half-hour dungeons, but right here I think we're about 15 to 20 minutes into this thing already, and we're not even close to halfway done. So it is a very large place. I'm gonna puff our way over this way, because I don't think we actually have to go back to that room that we were just in. Ow. Alrighty. That should bring us over to... Oh, what? That was weird. This thing is a little bit hard to control and can get a little bit temperamental at times. But fortunately... Oh, come on. We can't even do this yet. That was a bit of a brain fart on my part. Turns out everything down here we can't actually do yet, so it looks like we're going to want to head back to that main room and actually progress into the second half of the dungeon. That's the one annoying thing. As you can probably guess, all these chests trapped in ice have to do with the dungeon item, which we don't have yet. And we're not going to get it until the next half of the dungeon, which means we're going to have to backtrack into this area to grab some stuff. So if you want to grab everything in this dungeon, you kind of have to go to a lot of rooms multiple times. A little bit unfortunate, but I guess them's the road. Is there anything down here? No, it's just a wall. Alright. Heading right up here. Let's just not waste any time. Let's head right off into the next half of the dungeon, because it's got some important stuff that we're going to need to grab, as you might expect. Alrighty, hop right on down here, and be careful because these guys will immediately turn to attack you. But now that this ice block has been melted, we can actually progress, and these pots actually don't fly at you, so be appreciative of that. Alright, next area. More trapdoors. Pretty insane stuff here. We can pass through this room, and we can open up this chest, which I think has like a kinstone piece in it, maybe? Yeah, it does. Wow. That's kind of sad on my part, actually. Aha, this room. You want to be careful in this room. We got ice physics to deal with, and we got enemies that are definitely going to be coming at you. Now, you hear that sound? Yeah, I'm sure you can imagine what's coming next. We got traps. And ice physics. And traps tend to send you flying pretty darn far in this game, which is really unfortunate. Alrighty, let's just try and manage our ice physics carefully. Alrighty. Let's just come right on in here. Now I'm pretty sure you want to go off to the left, but I'm going to go on the right just to see if there's anything special off this way. Is there? There is a kinstone piece. I don't think that's supposed to spawn there. I guess I just sort of got lucky. Alrighty. Ooh. Yeah, ice physics can be a little bit nerve-wracking, especially when you got traps there to send you careening. Really not good when that happens. Alright, coming on through here. Got yet another room right here. That leads to the basement, and that's actually locked. What we want to do is come in this way, I think. And wow, look at that. All the way down there, we got a bit of a basement section. Now this is where you're really going to need to manipulate your trapdoors, because what you do is you hop down here, and there's a frozen chest. What you do is you flip this, and you can hear the gate up top closing. And now that it has been closed, you can head back upstairs and come across here to open the gate on the first floor, which will let the light come through. And then what you finally want to do is head back down here and flip this switch again to open up this gate again. And what that will do is allow the light to travel all the way down here to, I believe, the lowest part of the dungeon. Defrost that chest, and yep, it looks like we're in the only room on the third basement floor, which is pretty neat. And come in here, and we get a small key. Use it to open locked doors and blocks. You can use it only in this dungeon. And use it in this dungeon we shall. But I think what we're actually going to want to do is wait until the next episode to use this key. So, this time on The Legend of Zelda the Minish Cap, we got about halfway through the Temple of Droplets here. And next time on The Legend of Zelda the Minish Cap, we are going to be heading through that door right there and confronting something pretty titanically normal-sized, if you can catch my drift. And I will see you guys next time.